Now, a statement has been released to the press, seemingly from a source close to Louis Vuitton. In their statement, the source close to the brand said, "Louis Vuitton want everyone to know that what these people are saying is completely false and untrue, and they want everyone to understand that every item LV releases is made under meticulously high standards."
Louis Vuitton wasn't just a brand, it was a religion. For over a century, its iconic monogram symbolized elite status, generational wealth, and untouchable class. A single Speedy bag could whisper privilege louder than an Ivy League diploma. Its marketing was pure fantasy. Hand-finished trunks by seasoned French artisans, ateliers nestled in the heart of Paris, leather sourced from golden European pastures. Every product came with a myth.
Now storming the stores after Chinese manufacturers exposed some major trade secrets.
And customers paid for the story, not just the stitches. But in one fiery live stream, that entire illusion was torched. Kanye West, never one to tiptoe around controversy, allegedly confirmed what TikTok whistleblowers had been screaming for months, that Louis Vuitton was peddling Chinese-assembled bags at European luxury prices. And not just a few items. He claimed it was systematic, corporate, and deliberate. He didn't leak it through a press release. He didn't whisper it to Vogue. He yelled it straight into the camera, mid-rant.
The battlefield is TikTok. It is flooded with such factory videos. Chinese suppliers are reaching out to American customers directly.
Eyes locked on viewers like a man who'd seen too much. "They're selling you lies with a zipper," he said, brandishing a duffel that looked identical to what sells in stores for $3,000. The accusation hit harder than any exposé, because this wasn't some anonymous whistleblower. This was Kanye, global superstar, fashion disruptor, former Louis collaborator, and above all, an ex-insider. The fallout was immediate. Like a chain reaction, headlines detonated across every platform. Kanye exposes LV fraud.
Do you know that more than 80% of the luxury leather products, like handbags, purses, and shoes of Louis Vuitton, Chanel, Gucci, Coach, Prada, you name it, most of them are made in China?
Monogram Mirage. Luxury lies go viral. TikTok creators uploaded side-by-side comparisons, live streamers raged, and fashion forums declared the monogram dead. And then, something unprecedented happened. Louis Vuitton boutiques were physically raided. In city after city, furious, customers lined up not to buy, but to return, confront, and demand answers. Inside the stores, tensions snapped. Clerks ducked verbal attacks. Protesters recorded chaotic scenes.
China makes 80% of your designer bags.
Who's the Chinese supplier behind Under Armour? Shenzhou International. Nike shoes from China to your country?
Who are the suppliers behind Sullivan, Timberland, New Balance, Adidas, Nike, First, Baocheng factory.
Posting them under the viral hashtag Dark Luxury Scam, it wasn't just a PR crisis, it was a full-blown revolt. The world's most coveted monogram had become a symbol of betrayal, and at the center of it all was Kanye West, dragging Louis Vuitton's secrets into the harsh light of public scrutiny. Kanye didn't ease into this one. He went nuclear from the jump. It started with a dark, grainy live stream, no flashy lighting, no production value. Just, a bare table and a duffel bag. But not just any duffel.
Not just calling them out, they're showing the world exactly where your $1,000 handbag or your $100 leggings are really being made. They're now offering you the same exact stuff, no middleman, no markup. In a bold move that seems more like economic warfare than manufacturing, Chinese workers are lifting the lid on $1 billion.
A Louis Vuitton keep-all that, according to Kanye, didn't come from Paris, didn't come from an LV flagship, and didn't come from a European atelier. This came straight from Guangzhou. He snapped, holding the bag up to the camera like evidence in a trial. "Look at the stitching. Feel the grain. Smell it," he said, laughing bitterly. Same fin canvas, same fin zipper. And guess what? It cost me $80, not $3,200. That moment was the spark.
Even though these brands brag about being made in Europe, the video claims that more than half of Louis Vuitton's bags are actually made in China.
And social media ignited like gasoline. Fans clipped the live stream and posted it to TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram within minutes. The hashtag #LVExposed started trending globally in under an hour. Kanye's claims spread like wildfire, racking up millions of views before Louis Vuitton's PR team could even blink, and the timing couldn't have been worse. For months, TikTok had been flooded with Chinese factory workers claiming they made the same bags luxury houses sold for thousands. Most viewers dismissed them as counterfeit peddlers looking for attention.
Asking you guys shall receive. You want a tutorial? I got you. So let's just click my link in my bio, and it's going to take you to my landing page. Just scroll down a little bit, and here you will find the spreadsheet. This is if you want my personalized help, and this is if you want anything added to the spreadsheet. So let's go ahead and click my spreadsheet. So here we have all of the vendors that I've compiled for you guys.
But when Kanye echoed their claims, people paid attention. Fashion Twitter exploded with takes. Some praised Kanye for burning the house of luxury to the ground. Others warned that if Louis was exposed, every other high-end brand was about to fall like dominoes. The internet wasn't just reacting, they were organizing. And what made the explosion even more seismic? This wasn't coming from a disgruntled outsider. This was Kanye West, the man who collaborated with
decades. We have been conditioned to believe that China is just one giant sweatshop pumping out crap while we are the sophisticated, high-end innovators. And it turns out China has just been patiently waiting for us to be completely dependent upon their manufacturers. They have been mastering every technology, absorbing every industry, and then building an empire that doesn't need us half as much as we need.
Louis Vuitton, who designed shoes, walked runways, and sat front row next to Virgil Abloh. He wasn't just a celebrity talking ST, he was a former golden child turning the flamethrower on the very house that once celebrated him. His words weren't empty. They were devastating. Because they weren't just an accusation, they were an insider's confirmation, a betrayal from within. And what followed? A level of chaos Louis Vuitton had never seen before. But the internet rage didn't stay online. It started like any other Friday until the fantasy unraveled. Just past noon in Paris, the Champs-Élysées flagship of Louis Vuitton transformed from a luxury sanctuary into ground zero for chaos. Dozens of angry customers didn't come to browse. They came to confront, cell phones in hand. They flooded through the grand glass doors, shouting, recording, demanding. The security shutters dropped halfway, but it was too late. The crowd surged past velvet ropes, knocking over signage, tossing empty Louis boxes across polished marble floors like protest confetti. "Refunds now," one man screamed as he waved a never-full tote in the air. Others scrawled in lipstick on the boutique's full-length mirrors, "Made in China" and "Stop the scam." Employees, normally stoic behind designer counters, looked frozen, caught between policy and panic. One young clerk collapsed in tears as furious buyers surrounded her, yelling accusations while live-streaming the entire encounter. The chaos didn't stay in Paris. Within hours, similar scenes played out on Fifth Avenue in New York, Rodeo Drive, in Beverly Hills, and Tokyo's Omotesando. Shoppers arrived in mobs, many holding handbags aloft like protest signs. "Explain this," they demanded, flashing screenshots of Kanye's live stream alongside viral TikTok videos of Chinese factory workers stitching what appeared to be authentic Louis designs. In London, protesters taped up screenshots of leaked invoices on storefront windows and banged on the glass, shouting, "Same bag, different lie." Security was forced to lock doors midday. Dozens of people posted videos of themselves walking out of LV stores, dropping their purchases on the sidewalk, and declaring they'd never wear the monogram again. One clip showing a woman ripping the strap off a $3,000 Alma BB and hurling it at a cashier gained over 2 million views on YouTube within the day. Another from Tokyo showed protesters holding up QR codes linking directly to the leaked factory invoices, chanting, "Don't sell us lies." Police labeled the incidents mass retail unrest, a sanitized term for what was clearly a consumer uprising. But on social media, the sentiment was louder, clearer, and more unforgiving. This was payback. A revolt against decades of corporate manipulation wrapped in leather and dust bags. People weren't just mad about where their bags were made, they were furious about being lied to. This wasn't a simple boycott, it was a luxury reckoning. Meanwhile, on the other side of the world, factories dumped the real paperwork. As Louis Vuitton storefronts became battlegrounds, a digital war erupted behind the scenes. And the first shots came in the form of hard, damning evidence, uploaded straight to Discord, Telegram, and TikTok by the very factories at the center of the storm. A network of Shenzhen-based leather suppliers, long rumored to work in Louis Vuitton's shadows, unleashed a torrent of documentation that shook the luxury world. First came the purchase orders, dozens of them, each stamped with internal codes like LV23, referencing production runs tied to specific SKUs in Louis Vuitton's monogram collection. Then came material palette sheets, showing exact Pantone matches for the iconic monogram brown, a shade legally trademarked by Louis Vuitton. But these were not speculative leaks. They were dated, signed, and linked to shipping batches that aligned exactly with LV's public drop calendar. It didn't stop there. Freight manifests were posted showing container loads marked coded. Canvas shipped from Shenzhen through Hong Kong and docked at Le Havre, France. Customs tags attached to these shipments listed materials as PU leather, decorative goods, a known labeling trick to obscure high-end branding. Even more damning, factory production photos showing bins of hardware labeled LV brass strap hooks, Q4, stacked next to crates of completed handbags missing only their iconic interior date stamps. Then came the bombshell, a viral clip from the Times of India, where a Chinese factory foreman, face blurred but voice unmistakable, claimed they ship out 60% of Louis Vuitton's canvas rolls. His words weren't careful. They were cocky. "It's all the same," he laughed. "They cut it in France, we stitch it here. Same bag, better price." Experts at Business Insider scrambled to discredit the footage, insisting it was part of a counterfeit misinformation campaign. But the internet didn't care. Why? Because sleuths on TikTok had already gone deeper. They took the invoice numbers, matched them with shipping tracker IDs, and overlaid those with Google satellite data showing shipping activity from Shenzhen that spiked during every major Louis Vuitton release over the past 12 months. They even created heat maps showing a clear correlation. When LV announced a new bag drop in Paris, container traffic from Guangzhou to Le Havre increased by 18-25% that same week. Coincidence? The internet didn't think so. Not anymore. The nail in the coffin? Heat stamp comparisons. Side by side, buyers laid original LV tags next to ones from factory direct bags. Same indentation, same spacing, same font quirks. Luxury YouTubers with HD macro lenses slowed down the footage frame by frame, pointing out stitching angles that matched Louis Vuitton's official production guides down to the millimeter. And suddenly, the entire facade crumbled. The Made in France dream began to look like a global con, crafted in Chinese factories, disguised by customs paperwork, and finished with a ceremonial stitch in Paris just to check a legal box. The receipts weren't rumors. They were weapons, and they were coming faster than Louis Vuitton could delete them. Inside LVMH, panic turned to purge. Cardi B tweets, "Why pay $5K for a bag if the factory sells it for $60? That's clown math." Bethany Frankel live streams herself chucking 3 LV clutches in the trash. Fashion Week favorite Julia Fox laughs on TikTok, calling the monogram mall brand energy. Influencers race to drop dupe hauls, bragging they'll never give LV another dime. Hashtag your luxury scam rockets past 300 million views. Louis Vuitton's aura, once bulletproof, now feels like cheap vinyl. Wall Street feels the heat. Can Louis Vuitton resurrect trust, or has the monogram morphed into a warning label? PR chatter hints at Operation Glasshouse, microchip authentication, live-streamed atelier tours, and maybe a sacrilege, moving the logo to new bags made 100% in France with sky-high price hikes to fund it. Skeptics scoff. Gen Z values transparency, not prestige. If LV clings to secrecy, it may watch buyers flock to younger labels that wear their supply chains on their sleeves. The power sits with the consumer's swipe. Keep scrolling past LV, and even a 171-year-old empire crumbles. Corporate greed. Sold a fantasy and pocketed the difference. Kanye lit the match. Angry customers kicked in the doors, and the receipts from China poured gasoline on centuries-old prestige. Whether Louis Vuitton owns its mess or buries it under NDAs will define the fate of luxury itself. Because once the spell breaks, no amount of monogram canvas can stitch it back together.